Football is one of the biggest sports in America today, right next to basketball and baseball. The players make a lot of money. I am talking millions of dollars a year throughout a career of maybe 10 to 15 years. They make an insane amount of money for what? Entertainment value? Yes. Some would argue that they shouldn't make as much money as they do, but I'm here to say that they need to make as much as they do if we want to keep our sport around. With football, there's many factors in why the football players get as much money as they do. One of the reasons being the amount of money that they bring in for their employers, whether it be the Patriots, the Green Bay Packers, the Seahawks, doesn't matter. Players bring in a lot of revenue. Not only do they fill the seats, which the seats can go anywhere from $50 to $500 per seat, they also involve the players in selling concessions by keeping people in the stadium, and they also sell merchandise. All of those things added up are a very, very significant amount of money for the employers that hire them. Now, some might say that's not a good enough reason. Well, good, there's more. Dedication and time is something that you really need to take into consideration when talking about NFL athletes. They don't really get an off season. They don't get days off. They are always training and they are always working. If they don't work out and train all the time, every day, then it is very easy for someone to come in and cap them at the knees and basically put them out of a profession. They have to keep up on their team workouts, their individual workouts. They need to keep dieting. They need to go to practices, and they need to stay in physical health in order for them to be able to make a paycheck. Now, some might say that that's not really a good enough reason. Doctors save lives, and they don't make nearly as much as football players do. Fair enough. But there are many things about football players that doctors don't necessarily have to take into account for, such as promised wages. See, with a doctor, you get a set wage, and unless you're fired, you're going to get that wage every single 2 weeks to a month. With football players, they're offered contracts. Now, the way a contract works is you get your money as long as you play your games. If you get an injury, which is very, very common in the NFL, then you don't get your money. The chances of a person getting a career-ending injury in this industry are through the roof. A study was done by the NCAA, which is the College Sports Association, on football in colleges, and they found that there were 4,100 career-ending industries in 5 years. Let that sink in. That is 4,100 people that are not going to be able to go into the NFL because of an injury that they had sustained in 5 years. The injury rates are incredible for football players. Running backs, for example, have a 5.2% chance every single time they step on the field to be out for the rest of their lives. The same goes with tight ends and wide receivers. They all have such a giant risk factor going into this sport that they need to be paid as much as they are in order for them to be willing to put their necks out on the line every single time they're out on the field. Football players give up a lot of things in order to make as much money as they do. If they were not given as much money as they do right now, we probably would not have an NFL league as we speak. Yes, maybe they don't save lives, but they make a lot of revenue for their employers. They spend a lot of time working towards getting better and improving their craft. And they have to take into account major risk factors throughout their entire employment. If we didn't pay them as much as we do, we wouldn't have a football team.